My goal as champion is to just keep the upward curve that we've had at TNA the last couple of years now.
When you put Nick Nemeth down with the standing ovation,
It was very special. I wanted it to feel like when Steve Austin first won the title, take a moment to just feel the emotion, then go, right, I'm the guy. People understand very clearly that if you pay money to come and see TNA wrestling, you are going to get a phenomenal wrestling show.
this WWE TNA partnership is unprecedented.
Anything can happen. And I think that is a very important component.
Somebody somewhere must have said his name.
If you look at the visual, it was cool to see the TNA World Championship in that environment.
Does it make you a little threatened to have another musician on the roster now?
No, the sum is greater than the equal parts. I think me and Elijah working together is better for business.
Was it a strategic play to make something so catchy?
100%. How can fans get involved by standing in the audience? So I built a song around that.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry.
Rewind, recap, relive. Whoa! That's what the world is watching.
Say his name and he appears right here in the middle of New York City with TNA World Heavyweight Champion Joe Hendry. Joe, how you doing?
Doing very well, thank you.
All right. I'm doing great. How's New York treating you so far?
Very good, yeah, very good. It's a lot of the time when you're on the road, it's it's just airport, hotel, venue, that sort of thing. But the cool thing about New York is, Times Square's right there, right?
No,
So it's
exactly.
pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm from like a few blocks away, and I feel like every morning you see something that you'd never probably see anywhere
Yeah.
else in New
Yeah.
York.
That's
Very
for sure, yeah.
interesting experience. Well, TNA is heading here for Slammiversary July 20th to take over New York. And even though it is a bit away, do you get excited thinking about the prospect of walking in leading the TNA charge as World Heavyweight Champion?
Of course, like the entire journey of being TNA champion is very exciting. That's a long way away, so I don't want to, my chickens at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a UK phrase, but we say that there.
I heard that.
So there's a long road to go, but I would love to walk into UBS Arena with this championship for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be so cool to see. And many fans that will be there have watched your journey since the beginning and watched that climb. How has it been for you when you put Nick Nemeth down with the standing ovation? What is it like to see the fans waving their hands from side to side and hearing that 3 count and finally holding the championship?
It was very special. It was very special. It was a moment I thought a lot about. It was something I wanted to be deliberate about. There's different emotions when people win championships. And for me, I wanted it to feel like when, Steve Austin first won the title, take a moment to just feel the emotion, then go, right, I'm the guy. Let's get up on the turnbuckle and show the world. That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah. No, it was such a cool moment. And facing someone like Nick Nemeth for a while, like you did too, what are some of the lessons that you learned from such a main event guy who's been around for so long like Nick?
Yeah, I think I learned like as much from wrestling as I maybe even learned more tagging with him. Seeing him wrestling in the ring, you pick up things that for some reason when you're on the apron actually watch him and you're part of it, you pick up more than you would just watching matches on TV. So tagging with Nick was a really great experience and taught me a lot about giving your all to each match and trying to be better in that regard. So yeah, definitely learned a lot from working with Nick.
I had Nick on leading up to your championship match, and he had some choice words to say. But one of the things he said that was interesting was it's different to go from being the chaser to the one being chased as a world champion. What are your thoughts on that? Have you seen the differences?
I mean, there's a lot of work. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of responsibility, but I feel very comfortable with it because I'm a numbers guy. I see the metrics. I know what business we're doing, and I believe I'm the guy, and I believe that the numbers support that. So I know when I look at what numbers I'm doing online, I know what the merch sales are. I know where the tickets are going. And that's important to monitor when you are the champion. And my goal as champion is to just keep the upward curve that we've had at TNA for the last, last couple of years now. And, Nick was a big part of, as our many roster members, a huge part of that upswing that we've been having. And I just want to continue it and go even higher.
Yeah, and it's really cool to hear how plugged in you are too as world champ. TNA is on fire. That's a term that we keep hearing right now, and mainly because it's very true. TNA has so much buzz right now, so much attention. As world champion and more from a behind the scenes perspective, what do you think is that special ingredient that's causing TNA to be on that surge?
There's no one ingredient, right? So I think there's many factors at play. But I think that ultimately it comes down to trust that's built between the audience and the company. People understand very clearly that if you pay money to come and see TNA wrestling, you are going to get a phenomenal wrestling show. And I believe, honestly, I believe that's what we do. We deliver excellent shows consistently. So I'm very proud of that fact. I know the roster is proud of that fact. We've built up that trust over a long period of time. There's also a number of things that have been happening to bring more eyeballs to the company. That's a big part of the job, is for me to constantly bring eyeballs to the championship.
No, absolutely. I mean, TNA, like we said, yeah, it is on that upward swing. And we've seen it create some great moments over the years throughout its entire tenure, TNA. But this WWE TNA partnership is unprecedented. I believe that's what you're mentioning when you were just saying one of those special things that's happening. How does it feel like seeing that anyone can really cross the line and bring that extra added element to it?
So when I hear you say that, I think about, to me, one of the very important factors to have for pro wrestling to be hot is the idea that anything can happen. You know, in professional wrestling's hottest eras, anything can happen. And I think that is a very important component. So it's very exciting, as well, I would say, because it does feel we are in an era where anything can happen at any time with anyone in any company. And that additional excitement adds fuel to the fire. Yeah.
Moving to the Royal Rumble, where you proved that anything can happen, and you came out number 15 and shocked the wrestling world. That moment for you, what's going through your head right before your music hits?
Well, on that occasion, I was waiting, ready to go. They were saying, "Well, give me the signal," and then I see Triple H walking over to me, put his arm around me, and we took the photo. So that's what happened right before my music played. So it was awesome.
Wow. So like right before your music hits Triple H, there's no like, we're gonna do the picture. It's just he does it.
No, he just came over. I was like, this is cool.
So cool. Hearing your theme song played to an audience of that magnitude too on an event like that, was it special?
Very special indeed. Yeah, very special. And if you look at the visual, it was cool to see the TNA World Championship in that environment, because and I often think about this from the perspective of a casual fan. There's a lot of people who watch the Royal Rumble who aren't necessarily, avid professional wrestling fans. So as far as they're concerned, they're going, "Oh, he's a champion," So it's a pretty cool thing for them to. There will be people who had never seen wrestling before who will watch that event and see the TNA World Championship and go, that's pretty cool.
No, you running it down there like a TNA flag. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And Sheamus must believe too, because he just stood there. And
he was just like I said in my song on live TV. It was he was in disbelief.
He was in disbelief.
Yeah. That his belief.
That concert to commemorate that Rumble moment was so cool. And we saw Elijah come to your aid as well. He, of course, came to your aid, but does it make you a little threatened to have another musician on the roster now?
No, because I think that the sum is greater than the equal parts. I think me and Elijah working together is better for business than us doing what we're doing separately. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the thing is, I'm good at things that he's not, and he's good at things that I'm not. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like even the style of playing, he's very much a sort of, it's kind of like a blues rock approach to the songs that he does, and mine are more pop.
Yeah.
So what's cool is when it crosses over, I don't feel like we step on each other's toes. I think we just add to each other.
Totally. No, another collaborative effect.
Yeah.
So taking it back for you before the viral sensation of the theme, what was your creative process in developing it at first? Was it a strategic play to make something so catchy that fans could catch on to?
100%. Yeah, it was. There wasn't. It was completely planned. Completely planned. It was about audience interaction. I was like, I want them to wave their hands. I want them to clap their hands, because I was thinking, how can fans get involved by standing in the audience? And they can clap, they can wave their hands. I was like, that probably makes sense. So I built a song around that. I chose a BPM at the end of the song, very similar to We Will Rock You, because I wanted to. That's perfect for waving your hands, whereas the hand claps are perfect for clapping along in the pop section earlier. So the song actually changes BPM, and it's extremely rare for a charting pop song to change beats per minute in the middle of the song. There aren't many examples. One of the examples is Bohemian Rhapsody.
Wow.
Another example is Knights of Sidonia by Muse, and there aren't many other examples.
and it ended up ranking, was it number 4?
Number
The UK
4
George?
UK, yeah.
Wow, that's, I mean, such an incredible accomplishment, and really breaking the barriers of just, from wrestling. That transcends. That is very cool. You've also released some awesome diss tracks on your opponents, leading up to matches. I'm curious if that strategy is going to change at all now having the World Championship. Is there going to be more of a, I guess, intensity that we see out of Joe Hendry?
Well, I think you just have to watch the program to see how that story unfolds. That's a bit within a new chapter now. What is that new chapter going to be? If you watch the TV show, part of that chapter is me saying who is going to be next. Who is that? There is an air of mystery around this title run for sure.
No, and there's so much momentum behind you too, because like I said, we watched that climb. It's so cool to see where you are now. On those districts that you put out on your opponents. Are there some favorites in there that you really loved working on?
I mean, the Scotty Too Hotty one is a favorite one of mine, just based on the fan reaction. But it changes every week. People ask me, I give different answers.
Yeah, I loved the Major Brothers one. I thought that was great.
Yeah, I mean, they are just losers. So,
and put them in their place.
Yeah, it's always fun.
Absolutely. Well, you have been able to do some really cool things musically as well. You performed a concert alongside Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
That I thought was awesome. How was that opportunity for you to step in there with him?
It was very cool. Again, in that same weekend, that was when I had a world title match. I had a whole bunch of things going on, and I had to, basically come up with a way to play Modest for Jeff, which is his song, when it's not really a song with a whole lot of guitar in it. So I had to basically choose a chord structure and a rhythm that would allow Jeff to, because we didn't get a chance to practice other than like 5 minutes in the sound check. So I had to make something that I knew Jeff would just be able to slot into.
Yeah.
And so I'm proud that we were able to do that. And Jeff did a great job of slotting into that.
Yeah. And I feel like Jeff hasn't done a lot of wrestling concerts either. We've seen him do the concert separately, but that was so cool that he's able to share that moment with you. I had the Hardys on and they absolutely sang your praises.
Awesome. Great to hear.
And I see that entrance you did with them was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was fun getting to film that with them.
It was.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, I can't wait to see what you do with this title run. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Very busy schedule, as I know the champion has. But we've got Slammiversary, July 20th. Before that, Sacrifice coming up. What can TNA fans really expect for 2025?
I just think onwards and upwards. TNA is a hot product. The fans understand if they come to see us, they are going to get an unbelievable night of entertainment, and I think there's some really ambitious arena shows that I'm excited about taking on, and hopefully going into as champion. So I'm very excited for this year. And I think who knows what's going to happen, right? If you'd have told, arguably, certainly my 2025 has been bigger than my 2024.
Absolutely.
And we're only in February. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Rewind, recap, relive. Woo! That's what the world is watching.